Hi, Nigel here with the Drivewire. I've got the 2021 Toyota Land Cruiser, a car that has not changed very much since 2009. Very square, boxy, and yeah, it's very much the same as it was. A little bit of an antique, but supposed to be really quite good off-road. And this one, because it has the rear DVD player, is $90,000. You might say that's a lot, but these cars are supposed to last 25 years, and the average car lasts around 12, so you sort of pay for a car that's going to pretty much last as long as your granny's antiques. There's only one set of wheels it comes with. 18s, no choice, no options. You get these 18s, you can put whatever tires you want on these. It's got Dunlop Grand Treks on these. They're all seasons. They're actually pretty good off-road. We've driven it already. Okay on-road too. There's also one engine available, and that is a V8. It has 380 horsepower, 401 foot-pounds of torque. The problem with that is the car weighs 5,800 pounds, so 0 to 60 is a fairly leisurely 7 seconds, but that's not what this car is really all about. It's got the torque and the power to pretty much climb a mountain. All right, so my favorite part of this car is it has a split tailgate. Love that. Easy loading, and in the back right here with these third row, which are optional, you get about 16 cubic feet of space. This is the tow hitch that comes with the car. So if you want to put the third row down, it's not the easiest thing in the world. There's no motors or electrics or anything. First of all, you got to put the headrests down. Two little things right there. Pull on here, seat goes down. Pull on this one, seat goes down. And then, interestingly, they hook into the side. A little bit different. Pull this lever here, and there you go. Now you've got somewhere in the region of about 60 cubic feet of space. All right, getting in the back is somewhat complicated. You have to come over here, pull on this lever right here, pull the whole seat up. The $2,000 optional DVD system gets in the way, and then you sort of haul yourself into the back right here. And then we take a look, and there's not a whole lot of room. Move the headrests up. Actually, headroom's pretty good, but your knees, if you can see, I'm at this really strange angle. And weirdly, this is an 8-seater. There's room in the middle for pull the seatbelt across here. I think it'd be a little tight to have everyone in the car at the same time. You got a couple of cup holders, a little bit of space, but yeah, you could definitely fit some smaller adults in the back, but it's definitely not easy getting in and out. Inside, you get leather everywhere. These seats are unbelievably comfortable, just like your grandmother's armchair. Great for long trips, but it is very old school. If you take a look at this sort of huge slab in the center console, designed in 2009, but it does work pretty well. You've got navigation, you can set up audio here. It is touch, you can do the setup via touch. The screen's pretty good. It does react fairly quickly, but it is a little bit older. HVAC controls are in the center here. Obviously physical volume controls, physical tuning controls. I do like buttons. Sometimes you're fumbling around within here and you can't find anything. And then down here is the business end of what the Land Cruiser is. Obviously you've got heated and cooled seats at the top here. Only one USB. It's not very many, so you'll be fighting over that. This one will switch you from H4, which is what we're in now, to low range 4-wheel drive. This is your on-off button for hill descent control. This is controlling your crawl speed. These are your diff locks, traction control off, and then ECT second. That's if you need to pull away without spinning the wheels, so it automatically locks out first gear and allows you to set off in second gear. A couple of decent sized cup holders, and then one of my favorite things, that is a refrigerator. Pretty cold air. And at the top you've got a little bit more space, DVD remote, etc. Moving into the main screen, again, pretty old school, regular standard sort of dials, a little bit of an information screen in the center. You can look at what's playing on audio, oil temp, MPG, which I'm averaging somewhere around 16 miles to the gallon right now. So again, it's a little old but supremely comfortable, and with all these different buttons down here for off-roading, we could have some fun. All right, let's try some off-road stuff. We're already off-road here, up in the mountains. So we'll start off in regular 4 high. It's only got 2 choices, 4 high or 4 low. None of this messing around with 2-wheel drive versus 4-wheel drive. It's pretty dry here, so we shouldn't encounter any wet. It's got sort of semi off-road tires, but they're not super off-road. I think if I owned this car, I might be slightly anxious about taking a $90,000 Toyota Land Cruiser on some of this rough stuff, but this is what it's meant for. I'd like to test out the hill descent. There's a little bit of a steep bit over here that I think I'll try. Seems to iron out the bumps pretty well, considering it's older style ladder on frame chassis. I feel like this car's pretty capable. We're not giving it as much of a challenge as it might be able to cope with, but I would like to get the car back to Toyota in one piece. All right, so if we do a quick turn up here, let's see what happens in, it's very bright, let's see what happens in just regular, we haven't touched any of the controls, we're in regular 4-wheel drive. And it doesn't seem to be any kind of problem. It does get quite steep up here, so it'll be interesting to see if maybe I shouldn't put it in. So put it into neutral, push. Okay, so now I'm in 4 low. I get the 360 degree and the tilt camera on. That's always good to know. I'm going to put it back in D, and it tells me I'm in multi-terrain select, rock and dirt. Spot on, because it is rock and it is dirt. Now we are leaning a little bit, so I can see the pitch shows that we're leaning slightly, but you know, quite steep in this section. So I'll definitely come back down here with the hill descent control on, but apart from the fact that the dash is telling me that the windshield washer fluid is low, it seems to be doing just a fine job in getting up here. And this is pretty steep, so I feel like I'm fairly well pushed back into the seat here. And this little top bit is a bit of a rut. And look at that. Well, that is marvelous. 4 low, piece of cake. Oh, I said that, but now there's a really rocky bit here. But yeah, look at that. Let me put my seatbelt back on. So let's put it into hill descent control. So what's this? Crawl is activated. Okay, so. And then we have a dial right here that we can sort of go slower or faster. I'm going to put it on a slow setting. Now, no need to be alarmed, but Toyota's Crawl system makes really weird noises, but it works. Now I'm going into extra slow mode. Huge sort of ridge on the right here. Sounds like it's falling apart. Prefer that it doesn't fall apart. Come on, Land Cruiser, you can do it. It's fighting me and wants to go that way, so I'm just going to let it go the way that it feels it should go, which is into this very large rut that I was somewhat concerned about earlier. But I think it may well have chosen the best way. That was pretty good. Some of that sand has got churned up quite a bit, but this thing just devoured that. That was quite impressive, I must say. Quite impressive. Well done, Toyota. All right. So now we'll just take it sort of on a lesser medium trail, a little bit or washboard kind of surface. After we get down this short little section here, and then we'll drive it a little bit on the road and give you some idea of what it's like. All right, we've reached the smooth road again. Well, it's somewhat surfaced with a mixture of DG and there's some tarmac on here, but it's well used by Border Patrol, since the border is like a mile that way. One thing you do notice versus several other off-road vehicles that I've driven, Jeeps in particular, and actually the 4Runner, this has very heavy steering. I kind of like it on the really rough stuff because then the steering doesn't get sort of thrown around too much. But this is quite heavy, I must admit. Yeah, on sort of more normal roads, it feels a little bit like driving or rather piloting a huge container ship through the Panama Canal. You might get tired of the steering after a while. And it's a big car, but not as big as I drove the new Chevy Suburban the other day, and that's a big car, but because it's got such a much more modern suspension, independent rear suspension, yeah, it's on a ladder frame chassis like this is, but you know, this car, as I said, hasn't really changed much since 2009. You know, as you can see from both the exterior and the interior, and then the mechanical components. But God, it's pretty good off-road. And you know, if I were wanting something that would go off-road, this is a great car. I'm just not sure if I want to spend $90,000 on a good car off-road. I'd be much more likely and comfortable spending a lot less for like a 4Runner if I wanted to do this kind of stuff. Let's be honest, if you're not going to go off-road, you could get a Land Rover, you could get a Mercedes, you could get a BMW that won't go off-road like this, but it'll do these sort of minor sort of truck trails, but not the stuff that we just did. Yeah, But I can see why the Land Cruiser has a cult following. You know, huge, big, boxy shape. It's fun. It'll just about go anywhere. Yeah, it's a great car. It hasn't done too bad for its fuel economy either. I'm averaging 16, which if you compare with the Jeep that I just had with a Hemi, and I averaged like 14 and a half, this isn't doing bad. And this weighs definitely more than the Jeep Grand Cherokee does. Yeah, you also get a lot of body roll in the corners. It's like, whoa, this is a good handle to grab onto. This is not a car for driving fast. Now, rumors are that Toyota is coming up with a revamped version of this. Would be a 2022 model. Also, rumors are that this one isn't going to be sold next year here, at least in the US. But the one that's being revamped, if we do get it here, is supposed to, another rumor, get a twin turbo 6, which I believe is the engine they're going to be using to replace the V8, which is used in this and several other vehicles. The LC500, the RCF has a V8, and obviously this Land Cruiser and the Sequoia also has the same V8. So interestingly, the LS500, the huge sedan, has a twin turbo 6. Not sure why Toyota couldn't use that, but apparently they are developing a new twin turbo 6. So it could be interesting in this car. Certainly an improvement in fuel economy. We'll have to see what they do. Despite it being $90,000, somewhat antique, I love it. I love it. It's got so much character. These seats are unbelievably comfortable, like your grandmother's armchair. Just sort of sit back, relax. It doesn't, you just want to waft along. It doesn't want to make you drive fast. Infotainment works. It's not the best. I like the fact there's all these old school buttons and plenty of space. And then, of course, I love the little fridge under here. It's a fridge. Unbelievable. A fridge for your beer while you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's absolutely perfect. So, just going to join the regular road here, where we're going to take it easy. Engine's really smooth. Transmission is pretty good. Can't complain. And it sort of just serenely drives along. You're not going to have a lot of opportunity on a 2-lane road like this to pass anyone, but then most of the time you don't want to anyway. You're just relaxed and serene. And I'm not too keen on this. The wheel's nice, but I don't like this sort of wooden hard bit. Popular, Lexus does it. A few others have this funky wooden bit. Just give me a leather wheel all the way around instead of this really hard thing. So, actually fun test drive. Quite a bit of off-road stuff, a little bit of on-road that's boring. Really like this car. 2021 Toyota Land Cruiser. Keep selling it, Toyota, because I'm sure you'll find a number of people that would want to buy it and have some time off in the wilderness. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. Hey, make a comment if you like this car. And we will be back next time with something hopefully pretty good too. Thanks. Bye.